So if you've been to a petrol pump anywhere in India lately, you've probably seen a new sticker on the dispenser, right? It says E20. And look, this isn't just some new brand of fuel, it's a huge nationwide shift in what we are all putting into our tanks. So, what exactly is E20? And more importantly, what does it mean for your engine? Let's get into it.
And yeah, that little sticker brings up the one single question that every vehicle owner is asking right now. Is this new stuff actually safe for my car or for my bike? It's a really simple question, but the answer is surprisingly complex, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
All right, so first things first, let's talk about what this E20 fuel, which is now pretty much everywhere, actually is.
At its core, E20 is a pretty straightforward blend. It's 80% of our regular old petrol, but it's mixed with 20% ethanol. Now, ethanol is basically a type of alcohol, a biofuel, and in India's case, it's mostly being made from things like sugarcane and other food grains. This whole push is a huge part of the government's national biofuels policy.
You know what's really wild is just how fast this is all happening. The original plan was to have E20 fuel available everywhere by 2030, but that goal got moved up, and I mean aggressively moved up, to 2025. This super fast timeline is exactly why you're suddenly seeing E20 become the standard almost overnight.
So that brings up the obvious question. Why the big rush? Why so fast? Well, it turns out the government has two massive reasons for pushing this ambitious new fuel strategy. The first reason is money. A lot of money. This number right here, 43,000 crore rupees. That's the estimated savings in foreign exchange that India is projected to have in 2025 alone, just by cutting down on how much crude oil we import. Plus, it also creates this huge new domestic market for our farmers growing sugarcane and grains.
And here's the second big reason, the environment. You see, because ethanol has more oxygen in it, it helps fuel burn more completely. And the research shows this makes a huge difference. Using these ethanol blends leads to a pretty dramatic drop in harmful emissions. We're talking carbon monoxide getting cut by up to 37% and unburnt hydrocarbons dropping by almost 28%.
So it saves a ton of money and it's better for the air we breathe. Sounds perfect, right? A total win-win. Well, this is where things start to get a little complicated. The really crucial thing to understand is that ethanol as a chemical is very, very different from gasoline. And that difference really matters once it's inside your engine. On the surface, they're both just fuel, but chemically, they're worlds apart. Petrol, as we all know, is packed with energy and is pretty stable. Ethanol, on the other hand, has two big quirks we need to worry about. First, it loves to absorb water. It's what's called hygroscopic. And second, it can be corrosive, meaning it can eat away at certain metals and types of rubber.
This quote from Team BHP just nails the problem perfectly. Ethanol literally acts like a sponge, pulling moisture right out of the air. And if enough water gets into your fuel tank, something called phase separation can happen. That's when the ethanol and the water it absorbed separate from the petrol and sink to the bottom, creating this corrosive, gunky sludge that your engine was just never, ever designed to deal with.
Now, this table shows a lot of technical differences, but the one that matters most to your wallet is energy content. To put it simply, ethanol has about 30% less energy packed into it than petrol does. And what does that mean for you? It means your fuel economy is going to drop. You just have to burn more E20 to get the same amount of power.
So let's just recap. When you put all this chemistry together, what does it mean for your vehicle? Well, it means you're looking at a risk of rust inside your fuel tank from all that absorbed water. It means potential damage to older rubber parts like seals and hoses. You might get gummy deposits clogging up your fuel system. And, like we just saw, you're definitely going to see a drop in your mileage. Okay, that's the science. This brings us to the most important question of all for you, the driver. How does all of this chemistry actually affect your specific car or your specific motorcycle? All right, this is the crucial slide, so pay close attention. Your vehicle's compatibility all comes down to its emission standard. If you have a BS4 or older vehicle, anything made before 2020, it is not compliant. Using E20 in it carries a really high risk of damage. For early BS6 vehicles, so from 2020 to about April 2023, most of those are also not compliant. You absolutely have to check your owner's manual. It's only the newer vehicles, the ones that are BS6 Phase 2 compliant, sold after April 2023, that are generally designed to handle E20 fuel safely.
And remember that drop in fuel efficiency we talked about? Well, it's very real. Owners of modern E20 compliant cars are reporting about a 5 to 7% drop in their mileage. But for older, non-complying vehicles, that drop can be as much as 20%. That is a serious hit to your wallet every time you fill up.
And look, this isn't just theory. This case study from an owner of a classic 1999 Yamaha RX-135 shows you exactly what can happen. After filling up with E20, he let the bike sit for just a few rainy days. And when he checked, he found rust had already started inside the tank. He could actually see the water separated from the fuel, and a rubber gasket was already starting to fall apart. It's a textbook example of the kind of damage ethanol can cause to older machines.
Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds a little scary, I know, but don't worry, you are not helpless here. Let's talk about what you can actually do to protect your vehicle. So here it is, your simple 5-step plan to protect your vehicle. First, and this is the most important one, check your owner's manual. Find out its official E20 compliance status. Second, if your vehicle tends to sit unused for a while, use a fuel stabilizer. It'll help prevent that water absorption. Third, a simple trick. Try to keep your tank more than half full. Less empty space means less air, and that means less moisture for the ethanol to absorb. Fourth, for older vehicles, try to find premium fuels like XP100 that are ethanol-free. They can be hard to find, but it's worth looking. And finally, to stay on top of your regular maintenance, and maybe think about proactively replacing old rubber parts with new ethanol-resistant ones before they fail on you.
And just a quick but really important word on safety. Remember, at the end of the day, this is still fuel. It's toxic, it's highly flammable, so please always take the proper safety precautions if you're working anywhere near your fuel system.
So here's the bottom line. E20 fuel is a huge part of India's economic and environmental future, and it is here to stay. The question is no longer if you're going to have to use it, but how you're going to manage it. So you have to ask yourself, is your vehicle ready for the change?